Hello Year 4. Today I'm going to read the story that we're using in English at the moment. It's called Changed. I wonder if you can work out why. "I'll get you later," muttered Michael through gritted teeth. Mrs. Green, my Year 5 teacher, didn't see him, but I did. And I knew it was aimed at me. I sighed. Once again I would have to take the shortcut home so that I could avoid Michael, the school bully. I didn't know why, but Michael just did not like me. He was the nastiest boy in the school. Every morning he would swagger across the playground, his shoulders swinging from side to side, his boots dragging on the floor, until he came so close that I could almost smell his breath. With a quick flick of his tongue, he would spit out his gum in my face, and then swagger off again with the gang. As far as I remembered, I had never done anything to offend him. In fact, I went out of my way to avoid him, as I knew that sooner or later he would catch up with me. His threat rang in my ears as the bell for the end of the day resonated around the school. Moments later, without waiting to say goodbye to Pete, my best friend since reception class, I ran to the cloakroom, grabbed my rucksack and hurried out of school with my head down and my hood up so that Michael wouldn't see me. It was raining as I turned down the cliff path that was a shortcut home. It was the only way I could avoid the bully, and I was used to the rocky, winding path. I never told my mum I walked this way because it was banned. It was dangerous, and many people had slipped and fallen onto the rocky cliffs below, where they had drowned when the sea swept over their unconscious bodies. I shivered. I don't know whether it was the thought of falling down the cliffs, or because of the driving rain soaking through my thin jacket. As I hurried along, I was surprised to hear footsteps behind me. Before I could turn, I felt a foot twist round my ankle, and a hand grabbed my elbow. "I told you I would get you!" shouted an unwelcome voice in my ear. My heart missed 3 beats as I realised I had been followed. With sweating hands, I turned to face the bully. He had gone! Oh no! Was he going to jump out on me and push me down the cliffs? I realised I was in grave danger and was about to turn and run home when I heard a whimper. "Help, Jack! You horrible little geek! Help me!" Slowly walking over to the cliff, I peered over the edge. There, about a metre below, was Michael, red in the face, tears streaming down his cheeks. I realised he was only hanging onto a thin branch, a branch that looked like it could snap at any moment. I had to act, and fast. I looked around for possible help. There was none. There was nobody in sight, and I remembered I had left my mobile phone recharging at home. Carefully, I peered over the edge again. Why should I save him? It would serve him right. Yet, deep down, I knew that I couldn't just leave him to fall into the sea. As fast as lightning, I untied my scarf, glad for once that my mum had knitted such a long one. "Hang on!" I yelled. "Well, I'm not exactly going to let go, am I?" whimpered Michael ungratefully. Angrily lying down on the floor, I stretched out my legs and wrapped my feet round a secure bench to hold me. I felt the sharp gravel digging into my knees and the puddles soaking through my thin layers of clothing. I threw the scarf over the edge to Michael. Oh, it didn't quite reach. I realised I was going to have to stretch over further. "Come on, Geek Features, are you going to save me or not?" I could not believe that even though he was about to die, Michael Morris still showed no sorrow for the way he treated me. I was tempted again to leave him, but I knew I couldn't. With a deep breath, I stretched right over the edge of the cliff. I could feel the spray from the crashing waves below, and could taste the saltiness on my lips. I will never know how I did it, but somehow I found the strength to pull Michael to safety. His red face was tear-stained, and he looked at me for a second time before he turned and ran. I was left, wet through, dirty and muddy. My long stripy scarf was about a metre longer. How was I going to explain this to Mum? I didn't need to, as it happened. Minutes later, as I walked home, I saw her in the distance walking Susie the dog. "Now I'm for it," I muttered to myself. Drawing closer to Mum, I could see the annoyed expression in her face. I drew a deep breath and decided to take the trouble. I was grounded for 2 weeks for walking home along the cliff path. I didn't bother to tell Mum why I had walked that way. I would have been in trouble anyway for not telling her about the bully. Anyway, I didn't mind about being grounded, because after that day my life changed. I was no longer bullied. Michael never thanked me for saving his life. In fact, after that day, he completely ignored me. That was thanks enough. Who would want to be friends with a bully anyway? So, soon, Year 4, you're going to be writing your own story about somebody who changes. We'll be using a class plan to help us. What do you think Jack, the character who was telling the story, should really have done about Michael? I know you know the answer. He should have told someone straight away, shouldn't he, when Michael was being so unkind to him. And I hope if you ever find yourself in a situation where somebody is being unkind to you over and over, you will always tell someone at school or someone at home. Bye for now, everyone.